And because I rely on Google, if you want to move over on this side, feel free. The screens will still be active. I rely on Google to remember my password because this is not my bank account. And as a result, I cannot log in to my account on intermountainbiota.org. Oh. Because I need to have it. Okay, so I am looking at this magnificent pillar here. That may be a better view for you than some others alternatives. So what I'm doing here is something that anybody can do. You don't have any special permission. And so what I did, I will go back to the home page. Okay, so here is your introductory home page. It's a slightly different format from the one for Open Herbarium. But then if you go in and you press the search button to search collections, this will bring up a page, and it lists all the collections that contribute to the database. And it's pretty comprehensive for the United States, but there are some regions that do not contribute to this network, which is frustrating. The networks that are pretty, that's the chief reason. One is Penstemon in the Plantagenacea. Oh, have to spell it correctly. And you notice it's come up with some suggestions. That makes my spelling, checks my spelling. And with a comma, I can say, I want to also look for this one. And I have chosen to search for 2 different species. So now it's going to go out through all the herbarium records that are available to it, which are a few million, I think around 30 million. And it's going to look for those records that are identified as Penstemon utahensis or Penstemon eatonii. And notice in the screen on the screen here, what you are seeing. What you are seeing is the name of the institution that provides these records. You are getting an image of the specimen. It's a high quality image. If you zoom in on it, it's sort of about 300 dpi if you print it to the size. And the image also has a ruler. So you've got the image, you've got the name of the institution, and if you click on the full record details, you will see, surprisingly enough, the full record, all the information that is in there. And the other thing you will see is on the bottom line, somewhere, at the bottom of the page, a comment that says you can either edit the data if you have permission, or you can send a message to Les Mackings, who is in charge of this collection, say this specimen has been misidentified, or anything else you like. It will go to her email box. It doesn't pile up as something she needs to check. It goes directly to her. And we find in the United States that you get a response within 48 hours. They may say, I will look at this next week, but they do respond to these things. And this is the answer to those who are concerned about putting up misidentified specimens. It's this way you get your specimens correctly identified. You go in and you check, and you can get back and say, no, I really do think it is correctly identified. Or you could say why. Or you could say, thank you, I have corrected it. And then you could go and annotate the specimen in your collection, and your collection is now better than it was. So that is part of this sharing, collaboration, and helping each other out. Okay, another feature that is not at all obvious that it exists.
Where's that flipping mouse?
Okay. If you click on the name, a plant name anywhere, the species name, it's usually a species, but you can also, if you look for families, you can get it that way. What you bring up you get what we call a taxon page. And this is the bit that I said appeals to the general public much more than the dead herbarium specimen. And basically, we rank the images in terms of a combination of attractive, but also informative. So we don't want 10 pictures of the flowers and how beautiful they are. Maybe 2, maybe 1, and then of the leaves and the growth habit. But generally we have not been through that. There's been some species where someone's gone through and ranked all the images. But the point here is that there is no limit on the number of images that can be put up. And you can put up pollen grains, photographs of pollen grains. You can put up anatomical things. You can put up line drawings. There are no limits. It's up to you as a contributor what you want to make available. But one thing they do is all the images will have, in general, a photographer with them, or a photographer equals illustrator, it's a line drawing. And you are asked always to acknowledge the source of the person who did it. And also, you're getting it for free. You cannot sell it to somebody else. These will not be the highest quality images. They will look fine on your screen. But one of the reasons for saying don't put your highest quality images up is that it will take a long time for them to download. And people will find it actually almost useless because nobody wants to wait half an hour to get a picture. So there are instructions for getting it smaller. If you want to, the other feature that you get with the home page, going back to, is based on those records, distribution map of these two species, and you can see one is much more widely distributed than the other, and it is a standard Google map. If you click on any one of these, you will get information on where that specimen is deposited, and if there's an image, you can see the image of the specimen, and if you see an error, you can send a message to Barbara Tiers, who's in charge of that particular herbarium. So this is one of the ways in which it makes herbarium resources really useful to a wider audience than is possible if you just have a physical collection in cabinets. It relies on physical collections in cabinets. Physical collections can be examined more easily than images. You can also contribute image-based records. And that's useful if you don't have permission to collect, or you do not have your collecting equipment, or maybe you know what it is, and you know what the diagnostic features are, but there are really so few plants in that area, you should not make a collection. In that case, take some pictures. Take more than one picture. If you know the diagnostic features, make sure you've got pictures of all of those, because they can all go up with the latitude and longitude to document the fact that that species occurred there then. So the form for, excuse me, the form for filling out an image-based record is very similar to that for doing a specimen-based record, just not a catalog number because it's not a herbarium specimen. So that's another feature here. Now, to be able to edit a collection, first of all, the collection has to have signed up with the network. For Pakistan, that would be Open Herbarium. And I need that to come from somebody authoritative, curator, or whatever, because it is an institutional commitment to providing data. It's not an individual one. In botany, we have a tradition really of saying that your specimens should be deposited in a recognized herbarium. And recognized to me means you should register with Index Herbariorum. So if you're working at a herbarium that is not registered with Index Herbariorum, talk very politely to the person in charge. I get to see if I can find that website. This is a listing, it tends to be a listing of all the research herbaria in the world. But like everything else, it depends on the research herbaria telling Index Herbariorum they exist. If the research herbaria do not say anything to Index Herbariorum, it doesn't know that they exist. This is not a well-funded thing where you've got people going out and scouring the neighborhood. We have promised GBIF, when we got the funding, that we would find out about the status of herbaria in Pakistan, both private and public. And the idea is, I hope that all those that are research herbaria will register. You can register and state that you're only a teaching collection, which basically means that you're not going to expand a whole lot. You've got representative specimens from your area, but you're not trying to document where different species occur within your area. So that's certainly the difference. It's not a hard fast one. And that came up very nicely on a Google search. And the first thing it does is, when I get there, yeah, see, it says, do you want to register here? So it's straightforward, it's free, you do it online. So get people to register the herbarium. It will take, there'll be an interval before it's done. And then when you do that, what you can do, or actually before you do that, we can do it now. Let's checklist. Or checklists up there. And because at the Supermin, I get to see them all. The thing that I would point out is that if you decide to create a checklist, and you could do that without having any special permission, I'll show you how. For Chitral, or for your hotel, or for your backyard, it doesn't matter. You can do it. You just have to create an account. And creating an account is free. Once you've created that account, you can go anytime this it's on the top right there. There. That means you can add something to that list. So you will see, you'll probably see no checklists, and then you will see the green plus sign. And if you click it, as I shall do, it for what will be referred to as the metadata. The metadata describes the data you are going to be presenting. So you want a name for your checklist, my backyard. You want who's the author of it, and generally it's a general checklist. You can give the locality if it has a locality. If it's a teaching checklist, you don't have a locality, or you probably don't. The citation and abstract. Citation is if you want